I was like, it's kind of nice. You know what I mean?
Is it though? That in the films I've written so far, men are dumb, women are smart. That's the theme I've always written. I'll just put the camera over there. Go.
Go. Yeah, you tell the camera guy that. Welcome back to PDOX Talks. Today I'm here with my co-host Yash.
Hey.
How you doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
How did you find the film that I made you watch?
I would first like you to pronounce it for me.
Irudhi Suttru. Say it.
Irud. Say it again.
Never mind.
And who's the director?
Sudha Kongra.
And what did you enjoy about the movie?
I loved a lot of things in the movie. At that time, it was a very realistic portrayal of sports and the politics behind sports in cinema, especially for the women. And this was also very big because this was one of the very few female directors we have in India.
Right.
So yeah, one of my favorite films.
Yeah, right. What was there particular scenes that you enjoyed, or?
See, I did not rewatch it. I remember bits of it, tiny bits of it. So you go first.
Yeah.
What did you watched it for this? Right?
I watched it to do the podcast.
Yes.
I watched my two scenes that stood out to me in particular was the coach. So one of the key themes in this film was about men treating women negatively in sport. And this was a particular point where the coach was adamant to not be that guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't about sleeping with his players and stuff like that. He was about coaching players and making them better.
He loved the sport.
He loved the sport and wanted to help.
Yeah, he just wanted to help.
That was what I thought was beautiful. And I loved how they did it with, they thought he wasn't. And there was this they were trying to fight him because they thought that's what was happening. And he was like, F off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of beautiful, spoiler alert, at the end, how they actually ended up together, which I thought was quite nice. But it was interesting how that tangled like that.
Yeah. My favorite scene was right after, I think she goes into the sports center, finally gets in to the National Sports Center or something, and her sister was already there. And her sister sees her, she gets all worked up, but then she pretends like she's happy that she's here. And then later she emotionally goes all out on her. And then she asks, and then this guy walks in, the coach walks in. And
I love this scene.
And then she asks him, she's already all out, right? Yeah. And the coach stops and she goes like, what's wrong with you? And then she goes, why did you not
coach me the same way?
Why did you not coach me the same way you coached her? Yeah. And then he just says, you're just not good enough. Yeah. That was just like, whoa.
It was just cold mic drop. And just walks off.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my favorite scene.
Yeah. That's a heavy scene.
That's a heavy scene.
Yeah.
But the blocking, the staging in that scene was so good. Yeah.
Do
you think this movie is perfect?
No.
Okay.
Why isn't it perfect is a good question. I thought the action sequences in the boxing could be much better.
Yeah. I watched a few scenes on the way here. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's that would have taken it to a new level.
Yeah.
But
I think because that's a whole different topic. Yeah. But because India has a problem with censoring, they do not. It's not like the US or Australia where they give you a certificate and they still let you screen the film.
Right.
They require you to cut down scenes they don't like, so they can't go too aggressive with violence.
Interesting. Okay.
To get like a neutral rating, they gotta be very how do I put this?
Family friendly.
Family friendly. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What did you? I mean, you haven't watched this for a while, but from what you know of it, what might you have taken from it? What could you have learnt that you might apply now?
Characters were written very beautifully. What they want and what they need is very beautifully structured throughout. Right? That was the whole crux of the thing. The girl thinks she needs him in his life, but the coach knows that that's not the solution to all her problems. Her solution is to go win the game. Right? And same thing for the coach. The coach kind of lets go of his ego to be the dominant coach in the place just to make her win as well. That's what he wants. This is what he needs. Yeah, very beautifully structured.
Yeah, I think what I learnt, or what I would use or take away with this, I don't know if I learnt it from this, but characters I do enjoy are blunt. I like blunt and rough characters. Like I love the complex characters that are internal, but I also love the basically a hammer of a character.
Yeah.
Like they go, no, you're fucked. Like, you know what I mean? It's so blunt and obvious, and it's just beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, growing up with playing cricket, I had a couple of coaches. One particular, he was very, very straight to the point, and at the same time, you still had to question what he was saying. You still had to understand and think about and learn. Like being blunt doesn't mean you're always concise. It sometimes means there's room to grow and think about.
Yeah.
But it's just the delivery of it.
Yeah.
The delivery of. Yeah, I mean that's sometimes beautiful.
Do you think you can be that blunt person when you're directing, when you're on set?
Yeah, that's a very. I want to, but I don't think I'm there yet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to say, no, that light's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in my experience, I think I'll be able to do that. As I keep learning and growing, I'll be able, like, because even now I can go, you're in the wrong position.
Yeah.
That's not the right. I can do that now, but I still need a bit more behind me to go, get offset. You know what I mean? Like, kick someone offset because their work is shit.
Yeah.
That's being blunt, right?
Yeah.
Should I do it as in fuck off, like be really hard with it? I don't know if that's me.
I only do it with people I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like I really know they won't get hurt. They won't take it too hard.
Yeah.
I don't do it with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really grey area.
It's a really grey area.
Because like I always ask myself this, will it be more efficient? Like will we actually be better if I'm blunt?
Yeah.
And sometimes
I think it saves a lot of time if you're being blunt, and a lot of confusion.
I don't think it does, because if you upset someone, you could be f***ed for the next half an hour. You know what I mean? Like, but like if you hurt someone on set and particularly emotionally hurt them, you could throw off the crew massively. Someone has to deal with that person being upset, and then there's all the gossip that comes with it.
You can be blunt respectfully, though.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. How to do it is another question.
You give them the facts, but then you sandwich it with compliments.
Oh, gross, the compliment sandwich. But what if, so sometimes in film, things aren't blunt.
Yeah.
Things are grey, and how do you give them a direct answer? How do you say, no, this is exactly the right way to do it?
I think give explanations for it.
And they disagree.
And they disagree
with your explanation.
And then you pull the director card. I'm the director, f*** off.
I'm sorry, I'm the boss. Yeah. I think as a director right now, young, I'm too soft. I think, but going harder might not be the right step yet for me. You know what I mean? I feel like I've got to grow into those shoes. I've got to take the losses so I can have the wins when they need them, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Going harder is not the right step yet. Kieran 2026. That's all I took from that.
I researched and formulated that one actually. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for me it's just about finding the right balance of being blunt but being respectful about it.
On one of your films, you talked about being a dictator. Do you think you were blunt, or do you think you were rude, or how do you think you went about that?
Well, I wasn't very blunt on that. I wasn't being blunt on that.
Right.
I think I could have saved a lot of time and less
If you were blunt.
if I was blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we use a better word than blunt, but concise?
Cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Don't bullshit.
Don't bullshit. Don't be like, oh, I really like it, but can you do some? No, just put the camera over there.
Yeah.
Go, fuck off.
Go fuck off. Yeah, you tell the camera guy that.
I can tell Nova that all the
You
time.
probably tell that.
Yeah, I love you, Nova. So how do you feel about a bunch of dudes talking about women?
We actually had this exact conversation, and it was such an interesting one because we were writing a woman's perspective, and I always feel I'm not uncomfortable, but I was like, I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
And I want the woman's perspective. I want, but at the same time, I'm the writer. So I do my best to understand where they're coming from in the situation and then write accordingly.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% wrong all of the time. I'm going to say that now. But I do my best to do my research on the situation.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
I think something I've noted in the films I've written so far, men are dumb, women are smart. That's the theme I've always written. If you look at my films, all the women are smart, usually.
Yeah.
Usually the women are smart and the men are the dumb ones.
I think I wrote the same character. Yeah. My boy character, he wasn't necessarily dumb, but he was ignorant.
Right. Yeah.
He missed things.
Yeah.
And she saw things. And that was what the difference was.
Yeah.
They weren't so black and white. Could you read the language I wrote and think she was also missing something? Of course. But I aimed for her to be the stronger character in the relationship. Yeah. Yeah. What did you think about her character in the film? Did you think she was a strong protagonist?
She was a very strong protagonist. Yeah.
Do you think that's a shit question? Yeah.
It's all right.
Do you think she was an effective protagonist?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you think she was?
Why? Like I said, she had her needs, she had her wants. What she wanted was not what she needed. Right? Very beautifully written character arcs throughout as well. So that's why she's a very strong protagonist, I think. I do not know what else I'm going to ramble about. I'm running out of things to ramble about.
Ask me a question.
Why do you think she's a strong protagonist? Or do you think she's a strong protagonist in the first place?
I did like the non-sports person become the sports person.
Right. Because she wasn't taking it seriously.
She wasn't taking it seriously.
Yeah.
She wasn't supposed to be the boxer.
Yeah. The sister was supposed to be the boxer. That's right. Yeah. Coming back to me now.
I do sometimes find these things like these are sometimes not so representative in sport. There's a lot of people that work hard in sport.
They want to be the sports
and
person.
They do.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that train hard and do become the sportsman.
Yeah.
It's not always the random guy down the street who does something surprisingly perfect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do see the beauty in it of finding that person with that raw passion.
She was not the destined one.
No.
The destined child was the other one.
Yeah.
But then she stepped up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like the character flaws in the other sister, her jealousy, bit on the nose. I thought
it makes sense though.
It makes sense, but I mean, I don't know.
Imagine being the prodigy your entire life.
I understand the argument. You know what I mean? I get where she's coming from. I get why she's jealous.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, it's done. You know what I mean? Like, I know. I like to think, like, especially when there's situations where they seem so obvious, you kind of take yourself back and go, hang on a second, why am I jealous? Like, she actually is boxing better than me, right? I kind of know that, and that's kind of okay. Like, she's allowed to, like, and maybe that's that challenge between she knows and she's hurting inside about it.
Yeah, I think that was
maybe
what's
that should have been
as well.
should have been more at the front.
Yeah,
that would have been an interesting conversation where we're like, I know you're better than me at the moment, but it still hurts. You know what I mean? That would have been an interesting part.
Yeah.
If they added that, that could have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
That would have given her more depth, her character, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't ask me what I didn't like about the film.
What didn't you like about the film?
I did not like I understand that she wanted to get together with him, but I do not like the fact that they kind of hinted that they did at the end. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
They should have just left it coach and mentee.
Yes, I agree. When I first saw it, I thought the same thing. Then I thought about it more. I was like, it's kind of nice. You know what I mean?
Is it though?
I mean, some of the things they said, like the things he did for her weren't out of lust or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was pure love for the game.
Yeah.
And then he still put his coaching license on the line and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, it does feel like love. Whether it's for the person or for the sport, I'm not sure.
It's for the sport. That's what I saw it.
Yeah, but I mean, a player.
And he was a bit abusive here and there, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, it's there's some questionable things. But I mean, in boxing, that's going to happen.
Yeah,
it is a physical contact sport.
Yeah,
so maybe that's the argument for it. But yeah, I don't know. I tried to argue for the director's point of view. I wanted her to be right, and then I was like, I still don't know if it's right, but you know what I mean. I wanted to see that side as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should check out her other work. It's really good as well.
Okay.